right, everybody, this is our Silly Pints for our Pro Tour Patreons or patrons. $25 a month gets you a Silly Pint every event we have. Today, this Silly Pint is going to Sam Martinson. Sam, thank you very much for being a Pro Tour patron. Tom Schneider, thank you very much. This Silly Pint's for you. Thank you for supporting the Pro Tour. ShopTom.com. Thank you, Daniel Reynoso. This Silly Pint's for you. Thank you for supporting the Pro Tour. If anybody else wants to support the Pro Tour, go to patreon.com/DGPT. Maybe I'll be thanking you and giving you a Silly Pint. Brian Megason, thank you very much for your support of the Pro Tour. This Silly Pint's for you. Alan Risley, this Silly Pint's for you. Thank you very much for supporting the Pro Tour. And lastly, this Silly Pint's for you, Patrick Yo. Thank you very much for being a DGPT patron. Let's get back to the action.
Plenty of time.
Hello everyone and welcome to the 2017 Utah Open presented by Latitude 64. I'm your host Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, along with our Disc Golf Pro Tour Director in Steve Dodge. And Steve, fifth stop on the Disc Golf Pro Tour, and you couldn't have picked a better venue.
This is gorgeous. You walk out here, you see these mountains, see this course. It's manicured gorgeously. Jade and crew have done an amazing job. This is the halfway point of the season. People are starting to look at the points, trying to get in the top 8, trying to get in the top 16, make their moves. I know that on this featured card today we have a Tour Points leader, Ricky Wysocki, and Jeremy Koling, who's currently in 3rd place as well. It's Josh Anthon's first Pro Tour event, and Paul Ulibarri is sitting, I think, around the order of 20th. This would be a very good event for him to make a move. So that's where we are.
We've got a very exciting card for you. The players are getting ready. We're going to see Josh Anthon live for the first time since the 2011 World Championships Final Four. So lots of great action for you. Steve Dodge and Terry Miller, we're going to be on the mic throughout the day, and we've got Rob getting ready for the call. Let's get to it. This is the 2017 Utah Open presented by Latitude 64.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2017 Utah Open featured card. 2 o'clock tee time. First on the tee pad from Rio Linda, California, Josh Anthon.
And taking a route most would not have expected. Josh goes with an Anheuser off the tee, trying to carry that turnover shot.
Representing Innova Champion Discs from Charlotte, North Carolina, your 2016 Utah Open champion, Big Germ, Jeremy Koling.
Hole 1, a par 4, 711 feet. And the more conventional route here is Big Germ with a hyzer on this long par 4 to get started. Not much action there, even on the shorter grass.
Representing Prodigy Disc from Mesa, Arizona, Paul Ulibarri.
Steve, I'm not sure if that was an unintended dab or a potential sneeze, but Paul Ulibarri's on the tee.
Paul is our 2015 Utah Open champion. That's why he's on this card. Let's see what he can do.
And low with a light tailwind, pushes it down. He's in the open. He'll have an open shot from there.
Representing Latitude 64, your 2016 PDGA World Champion from Fort Mill, South Carolina, Ricky Wysocki.
And Steve, as you said, our Pro Tour points leader, Ricky Wysocki.
I've got to go ahead and say Rob Boland's doing a good job on the call. Great job by Rob today.
Gentle hyzer that's pushing left. And earlier today, I followed the women's featured card. Steve edited it together. We're going to take a look as we move down the fairway on our opening hole at the Utah Open. Steve, one of the conversations that will be talked about quite a bit here this weekend is the elevation. Talk a little bit about what that means for these players.
Well, I think it means that the disc is more overstable.
Correct?
And if they're anything like me, I mean, it's a little harder to go up the stairs. What does that mean? What do they have? Do they have to change something up here? I think you might know that better than I.
We'll talk about that in a moment after we see Paul Ulibarri's approach. Basically, players will need to either play wider out as the disc tends to fall left quicker, as in being more overstable, as you mentioned a moment ago, but also the discs in general are harder to turn over. So Paige Pierce talked quite a bit about typically playing a little bit of a hyzer flip in her game when she's driving. Out here, she actually said, no, I need to get on it and really turn it over if I want that disc to get up and move.
So one thing that I really like about being able to cut in the women is right now nobody really knows what this hole looks like on the other side, except for the fact that we've seen the women putt on it. if you can get over that hill, it's a really slow green and you can really attack this putt.
And Josh Anthon points to Ricky Wysocki to throw second. Ricky lining up a standstill forehand. Gives it a little bit of a turn, flirts with the tree, and actually connects. That's a relatively early mistake there by Wysocki. Anthon will be next to throw. Anthon going with a putter, and it looks like just the right speed over the hill. He'll have a putt from there.
So they overwatered the course over the last day or so. The grass is actually, it's very short, obviously, but it's very wet also. Like Paul Ulibarri might have expected more of a skip based on his practice rounds. But they are not going to water the course while we're here. And it'll be interesting to see how much differently the skips go over the next 3 days.
Well, and we can talk a little bit about the weather, which is forecasted to be in the high 80s to even the low 90s possibly on Saturday. Today it's somewhat overcast, and that's coming in hot, and it somehow fades into the sand trap. Now the sand traps are played as out of bounds. However, the competitors will go to where it is and play it as it lies. Instead of bringing it out like you would a typical OB, you actually go and stand in the sand trap, so you play exactly where it lies, but you are assessed the one-stroke penalty.
Yeah, I think Jade's done a lot to make sure that there's this little ambiguity in where players should play from, and that's one rule that's successfully been implemented, so that you know exactly where to play. You don't have to worry about where you were last inbounds with all of these bunkers.
And Rick gives it a run. He looks to be just about at the circle 2 edge. And we'll quickly clarify that anytime we talk about circle 1, that means inside 33 feet or 10 meters, just inside 33 feet. And circle 2 is just double that at 20 meters. So if you hear us referencing circle 1 and circle 2, that is exactly what we mean.
Maybe we should do a quick flash poll in the comments, see who thinks we should also create a circle 3. I'd be interested in seeing that. That's something we've dabbled with the UDisc guys, and it's something that may happen in the future. And I'd love to see just in the comments what do people think.
And Ulibarri at this as he's putting. Next putt will be Big Germ after finishing in the sand trap on his second shot. A solid recovery there by Big Germ. He's still going to walk away with the par 4.
This hole was averaging exactly 4 coming into this card. It looks like it's going to be a finish close to a par 4 also, with 2 4s already.
And Anthon with a short uphill putt, surprisingly low. Wysocki and Ulibarri along with Anthon will all clean up. This has been your first hole here at the Utah Open. We're going to move into hole 2. We'll be back with you after a word from our sponsors right here on the Disc Golf Pro Tour.
If I lay up, I get a personal best. But if I hit the putt, it's a new course record.
Josh Anthon opens with the par 4. He's going with a hyzer out over the hillside and lands just inside circle 1. He'll have about a 31-foot putt from there. Any statistics on hole 2, Steve?
I'm sure there are, but I've been busy just checking out this very treacherous green, surrounded by bunkers. Obviously, well, maybe not obviously, the greens for the ball golf course are also OB, so there is a lot of OB for them to deal with on this hole.
And are the greens in the ball golf course played the same way as a sand trap, in that you play from where it lies and then take a penalty?
I believe, I don't know. I believe I don't know.
I believe you don't know either.
I made sure to know about the bunkers.
And Big Germ's shot is much lower than we saw from Anthon. Germ's asking for it to sit. It comes in past the basket. And he gets the green flag. He is in bounds.
You asked about stats. This is actually the 4th hardest hole on the course, averaging over half a stroke above par, so it's a 3.52 average.
And Ulibarri goes up and over with the hyzer. The wind's pushing in nicely. And we have the spotter running it down, and it looks like he gets the red flag. A little too much power.
I thought that was an ace run.
And Wysocki will be 4th to tee. Expect to see another hyzer. There's a gentle wind pushing from right to left. This may be the calmest of the next 3 rounds. And then we are seeing it roll, and it also goes red. We're going to see how the women played here on hole 2 a little earlier. We'll be back in a moment.
Damn, that flight was so pretty.
Paul Ulibarri had asked how far out. He said it had just barely rolled in, is what the spotter had indicated. We find Big Germ just inside the circle 1 indicator. And a slight headwind picks up as Big Germ takes his putt from 32 feet. And Josh Anthon also just inside circle 1. He'll be looking at a downhill putt. He's got a gentle right to left wind pushing. And 2 for 2 by Anthon on birdie attempts. He's been just low. He had to be thinking about the possible drop off behind there. But when I talked to Josh yesterday, he said, I'm going to play very aggressive. I'm going to be going after everything. And he knows that he doesn't have the distance some of these other players do, but he knows he can make up for it on the green.
I didn't know he was doing that aggressive thing, but for me, that was a very smart miss. You don't want to miss that high. You'd sail right over Ricky's head in this case.
And on the uphill putt, we see that Wysocki is low. There's no reason for him to come up low on that other than a little bit of a misfire, a wind read, because he can be aggressive. Again, you mentioned the grass is a little bit longer, and there was no chance for it to roll. So unforced error there by Wysocki. low again. So we've seen the last 3 putts here by our feature card came in low, just in and out by Ulibarri. Looks like he has a slightly different putting routine here this week, and maybe it was just that particular stance, but we all know that Uli seems to change up his putting from time to time, or every weekend. Cleanup for Koling. We know that you said this is playing as the 4th most challenging hole. Is that correct, Steve? I think we've seen why.
It averages 3.5, and they just got a 3.5. That's a tough hole.
We're moving on to hole number 3 right here, the Utah Open.
Disc Golf Center is your #1 choice for discs, accessories, and low prices. With free shipping within the U.S. on all orders over $12, discounts from our customer rewards program, and the ability to pick out the exact weight and color disc you want from our live inventory of over 20,000 options. You'll find exactly what you're looking for. Visit discgolfcenter.com, the world's largest disc golf store. Welcome back, everyone. On hole number 3, Josh Anthon still with the tee. He goes with a high hyzer, which is finishing up, and gallery approves.
Did that hit that tree, Terry? It looked like it hit the tree and dropped straight down, leaving him in between circle 1 and 2 from where I'm looking.
Again, we see Big Germ going with a lower line than we just saw from Anthon, who was much higher with his hyzer attempt. Looks like he's gone long past the basket.
One interesting thing about this hole is that pine tree just past the pin. If you go long, you've got a very difficult shot around a 5-foot wide pine tree.
Ulibarri has split the difference between Big Germ and Anthon's height. And it looks like he's also going to finish deep.
So just for clarification, the cart paths are not out of bounds, and they're just part of the course.
And as Steve says, looks like Wysocki has pulled that wide right and also deep. Let's see how the women played out on hole 3 earlier today. Wysocki had cleared the golf green, so he was not OB, but definitely long and right of the basket. And Steve, you mentioned it before. If you go deep of this basket and you're in line with it, you've got a legitimate obstacle with this pine tree just in front of the basket for Big Germ.
Yeah, the play on this off the tee is short, and my guess is over the next 2 days we're going to watch these guys throw their drives shorter and shorter. Ricky gave that an amazing run, bearing in mind the wind, the distance, and that tree. Let's see what Jeremy can do.
Yeah, throwing into a headwind from one knee, Germ was not pleased with his effort, and looks like Ulibarri will have almost an identical putt with a little bit more challenge as he is propped behind the tree. Oh, tricky in and out. It just touches the front chains and front basket. I'm not sure if that was fully in, but a good looking run there by Uli. And dare I say it, finally, a birdie here on hole number 3, Steve.
I was going to say the exact same thing. We get our first birdie of the day on this lead card.
Rick maintaining balance, and we'll see Uli tap in for his par. 3 pars and a birdie by Anthon. We're moving on to hole number 4. Finally, a birdie. Rick, you're going to probably be carrying this hole. And welcome back. We have Josh Anthon on the tee. We talked about it earlier. He was making sure he got over on the turnover there. Fighting a little bit of a headwind here. Finds himself safe. Next to tee will be Big Germ. He's going to move a few items out of the way. He needs a long run up. And what an impressive shot by Big Germ. 453 feet.
Into a headwind.
And we see Ulibarri safe on the right side and short. And Wysocki's also finding himself safe. You have a long putt from there. We'll see how the women did on hole 4 earlier. We'll be back in a moment.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Paul Ulibarri for birdie. One thing that Jade Sewell has done with this design, make a lot of treacherous greens. If you're 25 feet away from this pin, you are in the drink. Ricky Wysocki, about 55 feet for birdie. It sits down. He's got about 15 left to save the par. Josh Anthon now, about 50 feet for birdie. He's playing aggressive. Let's see how we can do here. Birdie! Josh Anthon thrilling us. Back-to-back birdies. And Josh is saying, if somebody wants to win this tournament, I'm the man to catch. For birdie right here from about 20 feet. Dead center. A solid birdie by Jeremy. Ricky and Paul will be losing another stroke to Josh. A solid par putt by Ricky Wysocki. Paul Ulibarri will drop it in. Let's go to a word from our sponsors.
For me, it's time with my friends.
For me, it's a walk in the park.
For me, it's my job.
For me, it's fun.
And again, another nice turnover shot off the tee here by Josh Anthon, fighting the headwind here on hole number 5, 696 feet. This is a par 4. Big Germ's looking to bite off as much as he can on this drive. And a very low skip shot here by Big Germ, trying to take the water out of play on that left-hand side, especially throwing into a headwind. You don't want that to tail out left and hyzer into the water. And that continues to turn. That's going to finish in the center of the fairway when it finally comes down. The wind is lifting it and keeping it up.
Would you say so far Josh has the farthest drive out there?
Appears that he does, and Wysocki might be switching it up again. Headwind here on hole number 5. And I think Ricky might go after that long drive here. Steve, this is playing as one of the easier holes according to par?
I'll tell you after the women.
Woo!
Yeah, Steve, we're back. And how difficult is this hole, Steve?
So this is the second easiest hole on the course. However, that's according to par. The average score on this is a 3.8, which tells me that the rest of the course is playing pretty difficult, because it's just 0.2 under par as the second easiest hole. So there's not a lot of birdie opportunities out here.
Big Germ lining up a forehand. Again, he's got to be very careful he does not turn this over, because that will for sure end in the water if so. He's trying to take the water out of play by fighting with a forehand shot.
So here we go with Jeremy.
And he switches it up on me. He goes with the backhand, plays the skip nicely. Not sure that was quite as nice as his doubles partner from the World Championships in Paige Pierce with her beautiful approach shot, but I should put him up there for the birdie opportunity.
So one thing, the women, I guess we don't want to say how they finished, but if the men, on average, over the last big events, the women have finished about 10 strokes worse than the men. And one thing that says to me is that a score in the single digits under par is going to be a good score, especially with this wind picking up. The last couple of days we have not had this much wind during the practice. Paul Ulibarri, very nice upshot, gets in the circle. These guys are going to have a chance of birdie on this hole.
Edge disc. Shows a little bit about the strategy he's playing, that skip into the basket, don't want to go past, and you are right. Steve dodged that. He finished with the furthest drive of this entire group. Very impressive.
He did a risky flex shot, just to get that extra distance. As you said, he's playing aggressive.
And his putter is hung wide right. He'll be looking at inside the circle from there.
So one thing that we can talk about the women having played this hole, and we saw Catrina's shot hang up and not hook back left. They didn't have nearly as much wind this morning, so that shot, if she played that exact same shot now with this headwind, it obviously would have stood up quite a bit more. Or no, it would have turned over more. Who knows what would have happened, Terry?
Woulda, coulda, shoulda. And Big Germ is looking at just inside the circle, approximately 32 feet.
I'd call it 9.2 meters for those people in Finland watching us today.
And a solid putt there by Big Germ. That is a birdie 3. Looks like the rest of the card mates are inside that, all looking at birdies. And just squeaking over the edge with that gentle Anheuser putt. Anthon will remain on the tee with honors, moving on to the next hole.
Josh Anthon now has 3 birdies in a row.
Uli picks one up, and we see an easy tap in by Wysocki. 4 birdies here on hole number 5. We're moving on to a beautiful island green, hole 6. We'll be back in a moment.
For driving with power or into a headwind, Vibram designed a distance driver with amazing glide and a strong, predictable fade. It is the ideal disc for big arms, forehand drives, and smooth right-to-left finishes. Introducing the Olace from Vibram. Durability, grip, performance.
The 261-foot par 3, and Anthon comes up short, hits the tree on the left side. Big Germ looking at a forehand. And a gentle flick here by Big Germ, carrying over. And just short of the pin, looking at a uphill putt. And Uli is saved by the disc stalker wall. And Wysocki's carrying nicely to the green with a forehand as well. And he's good. Josh confirming there's a drop zone. We'll be back in a moment after the women on hole 6. And Josh from the drop zone, just right of the pin. Josh, in fact, threw a putter off the tee there after seeing 3 other drivers come in, 2 forehands and a backhand. Josh went with the putter, which caught the tree short and left of the pin. Uli is just outside circle 1, looking at almost exactly 10 meters. And he knew it right out of his hand with the Uli step putt. Easy cleanup here for Wysocki. What are we seeing on this hole, Steve?
About 25% go OB on this hole, 27 for the rest of the field. Actually, just dropped down to 26. And Josh Anthon kept that stat alive. Let's go to some hole sponsors.
What did you just do?
I'm stamping this misprint.
Yeah, but you triple stamped the double stamp.
Yeah?
You can't do that.
Can too.
Cannot.
Can too.
Cannot.
Can too.
You can't triple stamp a double stamp. You can't triple stamp a double stamp. You can't. Eric!
Guys, enough!
You want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
Do it! Just do it! Don't let your dreams be dreams. Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it! Make your dreams come true! Just do it! Just do it!
Welcome back to hole number 7. Big Germ out of his hand. We have the spotter chasing it down, and that is in fact OB. And that gets up and turns on him just a little bit. Looks like a great effort there by Paul Ulibarri. And Ricky also gets over on it. We'll see if that's going to carry too far past. We have again the spotter chasing it down. And he gives him the red flag. And Josh doesn't get over on it enough. He talked about playing the flex shots out here, knowing that he's going to need all the power he can. And he touches the green and then rolls. We'll see if we can get an official. It looks like our spotter is not going to tell us. Well, we'll find out when we get closer. We'll be back after seeing how the women teed on hole 7.
Make sure.
So Terry, I don't know if this is officially Big Sky Country, but it feels like Big Sky Country. Just everywhere you look, you see a lot of sky or mountains. One of the most beautiful scenic places we've seen on tour yet this year. So Josh is in fact out of bounds. He's on the green by about a meter.
Steve, could you define Big Sky Country? That's not a phrase that I would use, only because I'm not familiar with it. What do you mean by that?
Salada Sky, just like Salada Tea, who is in fact not a sponsor yet. But I think Montana is Big Sky Country. It's flat, you can see forever, you're nice and high up, and it seems like there's more sky than there is definitely on the East Coast, that's for sure. There's Josh Anthon. This is his third shot.
And with OB, actually no, the cart path is not out of bounds. I'm sorry, I'm used to thinking that it is. However, Josh puts himself a few feet from the pin. Wysocki very quick to fire. And Wysocki started running it down. Uh-oh, that was even a Wysocki grin there as he was running it down. I think we might be in for some trouble if we got a grinning Wysocki out here. Almost running down his 100-foot putt there. Steve, a minute ago, did I just hear you say the earth is flat?
Yeah, I don't think that I said the earth is flat. I may have. I think maybe the earth is flatter in this area.
But there's more sky here. So there's more sky here than back in Milwaukee where I'm from.
There is more sky, less oxygen, but more sky. In looking at the women's round, one thing that defined the women's round is the number of OBs that they threw. And that was a telling statistic. For example, Amy Bilodeau was at one point leading the tournament, and she had 0 OB strokes, and Paige and Catrina had 3 and 6 at the time. So staying clean is very important here at the Utah Open presented by Latitude.
The step putt from 44 feet by Ulibarri is not what he was looking for. Right out of his hand, he kind of looked away in frustration or disgust.
44. What sports superstars wore the number 44? Was that Roberto Clemente?
Possibly. Big germ is in.
If Jim Leland is watching, he would be able to let us know that.
And a somewhat deflated group here as they all tap in. We're moving on to hole 9 right here at the Utah Open. And welcome back to hole number 8, as I stated previously. Eventually we'll get on to hole number 9. And Paul Ulibarri is good to go. Thumbs up for the crowd. And Paul looking to go right at the pin. And travels just past it deep. He gets the green flag. Looks to be about 35 feet.
This hole is 330 feet, and the play is past the basket. Paul's shot was perfect. You want to go right at it. And if you're going to miss, you want to miss long.
And we've seen so much wind here as the round gets started, and Big Germ parks it within 15 feet of the pin. And now, as we are here on hole 8, there is no wind to speak of whatsoever. We'll see if it remains calm throughout the afternoon. Wysocki opts for the hyzer, playing to the mound, and it has finished in the sand trap. And saw Wysocki get the red and green flag there.
That is basically the equivalent of a 10-foot missed putt right there. Let's see how the ladies did on hole 8.
And there seems to be a question, which is why we got the red and green flag.
Safe? Yeah, touching in the grass is safe, right? Yeah, I think so. Touching the grass right there? Yeah, that's touching the grass.
And they've deemed that it is touching grass, and Ricky Wysocki is safe. And after going deep, Ulibarri will be second to throw. First will be Anthon. Josh's jump putt is to the right. Next will be Ulibarri. Again, an uphill putt. He's got to be very careful. If this gets away from him and rolls, it could find the sand trap behind the basket. Or dead center chain with authority. Great shot by Paul Ulibarri. And Wysocki will mark it. And Wysocki has the 2. Josh Anthon will be putting for his par 3 after going deep on his birdie. Cleanup for Anthon. And Big Germ's going to put in for the bird. 3 birdies and the par by Anthon. We're moving on to hole number 9.
knew it. Knew it. Haha.
What's the pro tip on snack time, Sarah?
This is a really good time when you're last on the box and there's a wait. This is some yogurt that I keep in my cooler bag of my Zuka cart. Because they have all these sweet accessories to carry all the cool stuff you need. Lots of room for lots of fun things like a toothbrush, some super glue, some baby wipes, an extra skirt, a rubber chicken, and some lotion.
All seem like essentials to me.
They are.
What's the yogurt of choice?
Chocolate Haze Craze Flips by Yod Chobani. It's my favorite.
Snack time pro tip, Sarah Holcomb. Welcome back to hole number 9. Paul Ulibarri with the honors, playing a flex shot. Again, no wind. Very nicely placed shot. Steve's going to give us some details here about hole number 9 in terms of the difficulty and maybe even the distance. 819 feet on this par 4.
Wow. Someone should go 4.
And Big Germ with a misfire. He does get the safe sign, but that is almost hundreds of feet off the mark. And Big Germ just says, wow.
Accurate.
Wysocki playing a little bit of the flex as well. And I think he's putting himself in a better position. Anytime you're on the left side of this fairway, it seems to be a little bit more open, so you can attack this slightly elevated pin.
Yeah, you definitely want to be left on this hole.
And Josh going to the right. He's going to play it up that side. Full flex shot. We've got a long walk ahead. Let's see how the women did earlier on hole 9. Everybody square up. And welcome back. I think we're going to have Big Germ throwing next, and as we make sure we get into position. Steve, what do we see?
Well, Koling's sitting at 3 down. Ulibarri's at 2 down. Anton and Wysocki are 1 down right now. We're halfway through the round, and Let's look at the leaderboard real quick. Well, Bobby Music just birdied hole 12 to Sixtown. He's now in a tie with Dana Vici. It's his first Pro Tour event. He said he's playing all of the last events. Might as well do well at the first one you're playing. Here's Jeremy Koling's second shot. He's got a good look attacking that elevated basket. I think he's put himself in very good position to take a putt.
And Ulibarri has indicated that Anthon will be next to throw. Anthon stepping up quickly. And Anthon coming right in at the pin, just missing. Next to throw will be Paul Ulibarri.
It's pretty amazing seeing these mountains in the background. Paul Ulibarri looks like he left that a little left. He'll have a putt. It'll be a long one. That's what birdie putts should be, though. Ricky Wysocki now. Got a little bit of a wind kicking up right to left. His right to left. I love seeing these mountains. It's just majestic here. Ricky with a very nice flick. Sits well within circle one. Let's see what the women did on the rest of hole 9.
Looks like we find 2 putts just inside circle 1, while one right next to the basket, and 2 putts from outside. Steve, did I hear you might have a joke for us?
No, not a joke at all. Did you know, one of the things a lot of people don't know is that the Beatles actually played disc golf often while they were on tour. And it was very well known. You know what their favorite hole was?
Hole 9?
Number 9. Number 9. Paul Ulibarri misses his birdie putt. Josh Anthon can be aggressive on this. It's a very nice, slow green, elevated basket.
I'm calling this one in. And without a doubt,
with a quarter inch to spare,
Anthon is in. He'll card the birdie.
Big shout out to Delta Windjammers for sponsoring our elevated basket. Makes the basket about 4.5 to 5 feet tall instead of its standard height,
which isn't standard. And with some go-karts in the background, Big Germ cards the birdie. Wysocki will have the easy tap in. Ulibarri will be left out of the party here. He's got just 14 feet left, maybe closer to 12. We have a double Mando on hole number 10 in just a moment. And we'll be back after a word from our sponsors as we move to the back half here in opening round of the Utah Open.
Are you obsessed with disc golf? If so, this is for you. DiscGolfBoxes.com. Premium hand-picked products shipped to your door every month. It's easy. 1. Pick your box size, the par, birdie, or ace. 2. Choose the brand of disc you would like. 3. Fill out the survey so we know exactly what you like. Go now to discgolfboxes.com and sign up today. Use coupon code DGPT to save 10% on your first box. Go to discgolfboxes.com to get your monthly box of disc golf awesomeness.
Flash Flight LED disc golf discs just changed the game. The unique Disco Select feature allows everyone to choose their own color by simply pressing the middle button, then pressing it again during the first rotation of colors when the one you want appears. Or you can leave it in disco mode, rotating through the 6 different colors for the duration of your game. Designed by serious professionals, crafted from Night Eye's unrivaled sure grip material, and featuring Night Eye's patented fiber optics array, these discs strike the perfect balance of durability, stability, performance, and just plain awesomeness. With easily replaceable batteries and an uber-long life, the Flash Flight driver, mid-range, and putter will shine as they blaze your path to victory, day or night. Night Eyes. Discover your solution.
All right, we're up.
Rick. Welcome back to hole number 10, which features a double mandatory and perfectly played by Big Germ Koling. Wysocki would love to duplicate that effort. And Wysocki goes right through the mandatory tree, does not get the carry after getting hung up. However, he has navigated the mando. And getting tricky here with a beat-up putter. Anthon goes with the roller, showing those skills. That is curling around nicely and very impressive.
You were accurate when you said a beat-up putter. I want to know how old that putter is, because it looks to be all 30 years old.
And speaking of 30 years old, as we watch, not get a good kick. I'll be back with a birthday message in a moment. Yuli's step putt is short. Ricky's got about 73 feet. Circle Ricky, as we call it. And halfway there, he thought it was in, started to run it down, and the gallery loves it.
It looked to me like he remembered his run on hole 7 and decided, I'm not chasing that until I know it's in. He paused, took a stutter step, and then ran with, is that a patented Ricky smile at that point?
Anthon within 10 feet of the pin.
So Jeremy Koling with this putt's going to move into a second place tie. And Ricky Wysocki and Anton also birdieing. Let's hear a word from our Pro Tour sponsors.
Ricky's got about 73 feet. Circle Ricky, as we call it.
me, it's time with my friends.
For me, it's a walk in the park.
For me, it's my job.
For me, it's fun.
All right, Steve Dodge giving us some stats. This is the second easiest hole on the course, hole number 11. Earlier I mentioned some birthday messages. Well, Eric Oakley is celebrating his 29th, and Paige Pierce yesterday turned 26. Happy birthday to both of them. One's got to wonder, is the play off of the net here?
That is exactly the play. You can watch Jeremy's shot or check out Catrina in about a minute.
What a unique approach here. Wysocki goes with a forehand shot, even though there's a mandatory, which means you must navigate to the right of the tree with the yellow arrow. And what an unfortunate kick off the net as he hits one of the pillars. That is the driving range here at Mulligan's Golf Course.
You know that I live to contradict you, so I'm going to say that was not an unfortunate kick. If you hit that net, you're just going to roll along it, and you're going to hit those pipes. Let's see how the women navigated this Mando.
Oh, bounce off that. Or go in. Ooh.
Does he get a meter from the bottom of the net? No, from the cable. You're safe. Yeah. And you get like, yeah, so you get like basically 2 meters from where your disc is. That cable moves, it drifts up and down.
So the call is you get to take it 1 meter from the cable on the ground. Anthon's putt is just a bit high, and we do want to make a clarification. The only way that you are considered OB if you go into the driving range on this hole is if you go up and over the net. So a shot like Josh's that hits the net and then somehow comes down or somehow scoots underneath would not be considered an OB shot. So Josh was in fact inbounds.
You're exactly right, Terry. There's a couple places where there's holes in the net. Beautiful birdie putt by Paul Ulibarri. And then also when it gets windy, this cable will actually lit up and a disc could actually scoot underneath. The intention of this net is if you go up and over, that's you're out of bounds. So it's like that on holes 11 and 12, which is the next hole.
And you have to throw a very bad shot to get up and over the net here.
Interestingly enough, last year, as you maybe know, the Mando was left of this tree, and players would throw huge anhysers into the net. And Jade decided to make the driving range OB at that point, and then he also switched the Mando to make it doubly unwise to use the net. Just for a tie for the lead.
And Steve said that is for a tie of the lead. Big Germ, again, last year's champion here at the Utah Open. Ricky is going to take the full meter from the net. The cabling it is at the bottom. That'll bring him to within 10 feet of the pin. And Josh Anthon, the only one left out of the birdie party here.
We are seeing why this is the second easiest hole on the course.
We're moving on to the last third of the course, hole number 12. And welcome back to our water station, brought to you in part by Pro Discus here and the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Big Germ will have the honors here as we move on to hole number 12. Hole 12 has been averaging 2.98, par 3 measuring in at 348 feet.
2.98 is 1/3, less than 3. That flexes beautifully around the third tree, skips in, and Jeremy is inside circle 1. Even he doesn't know how he missed that tree.
Now we feel a gentle tailwind here, which is consistent with the headwind they faced as they were moving opposite direction earlier in the round. Wysocki's backhand is low and on the right side. Again, cart path is not OB at any point on this hole.
Jeremy has birdied 7 of the last 8 holes so far. He's going to make it 8 out of 9. And he will be our leader after he hits this birdie.
Josh flirting with the fence on the net, and we're moving on. We'll see how the women navigated hole 12. Easy for Ricky Wysocki from approximately 40 feet. making the putting look easy here today. Big Germ will be able to putt with his driver, which is usually a pro's favorite putt. Josh Anthon looks to be just outside circle one. Great height and speed. Anthon with the 2. We're expecting Uli to also get in on the action.
That makes Anton 3 for 5 from circle 2. He's hit 60% from circle 2. Pretty amazing.
And Big Germ will cap off the star frame here on hole number 12. We'll be back with you in a few moments after a word from our sponsors right here at the Disc Golf Pro Tour. And Big Germ really taking his time here, hoping that somehow is going to come out of the trees, and instead it hits and comes straight down. There is a tailwind. Again, this hole parallels a few of the previous holes we saw, so no surprise that it is a tailwind.
Jeremy was asking, as he watched his disc go, he was asking, oh my gosh, there's a Mando. But the Mando is actually on the next hole. He drove pretty far and successfully navigated the Mando on 14.
This is a crush by Wysocki. This is 524 feet. And playing as the second most difficult hole, according to par, being a par 3.
This is a very long par 3. It's one of our discussion points with the women's tee conversation. And just did a quick look. None of the women reached circle 1 or 2 in regulation on this hole, and they all got about 3. So Paul Ulibarri with a very nice crush, setting himself up with a putt just outside circle 1. Let's see what Josh Anthon does if he does his flex, bringing the water into play a little bit.
He's going for it, and he's done just that. Played the flex. That's going to come out of it. It's just a matter of if he'll get a skip or a flare out of that. However, that's going to be in layup territory. We'll bring in the women's coverage right here on hole 13. Big Germ with a very light approach shot. Forehand comes up short. What are we seeing on the leaderboard, Steve? It looks like a pretty dynamic situation taking place as we go to this last third of the course.
As you and I were just talking about during the break, there's an opportunity for us to see these 4 players again tomorrow. Let's do a quick little flash poll. Who wants to see these 4 players again? Right now, Jeremy Koling is in the lead at 7 down. Bobby Music playing very well, 6 down. Ricky Wysocki tied with A.J. Risley, Dana Vici at 5 down. Looks like Josh Anthon has about 70 feet.
He's got a little room behind him. I think he's going to run it. And scoops in and out of the right side basket. Josh Anthon with a great run there from 70 feet. He told me yesterday he's going to play very aggressive, and I would certainly say that was. Oh, and a heartbreaker there by Paul Ulibarri. That is just a bit high, hits the tray, and then comes back out.
That reminds me a little bit about his putt on hole 3, which hit the tray and bounced out. He's had a couple of woulda, coulda, shouldas already in this first round.
And to save the par, he scoops up his mini in frustration. I hate it when I drive past a 525-foot hole and then have to make a 33-footer for par. And Big Germ not drawing any medal here. Hole 13 jumping out and biting a few of these players. Not giving up any strokes. As you said, second hardest hole on the course.
Yeah, these guys, this card's going to average 3.25. The average on the hole is a little over 3. And that's going to knock Jeremy. He's still in first, but now he's tied with Ricky and Bobby at 6 down. With Bobby's got a hole in hand.
And with a smile, Yuli will tap in. We're moving on to the short, but very well protected hole 14.
Do it! Just do it! Don't let your dreams be dreams. Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it! Make your dreams come true! Just do it! Just do it!
if that were water, that would be out of bounds because water's.
But yeah, his would have been too on the other one, but he touched on a little bit of grass. I don't know. How do you have to touch the grass? Perfectly or a little bit?
I think it has to be the roots of the grass, not a blade that's going out into the sand. If there's roots there, then that's different.
Well, there's roots right here, though.
Yeah, that's a hard one to say. I don't know.
My interpretation.
What do you think? Well, I think yours was like more of like part of the defining line.
Oh yeah.
And yours is obviously.
I just don't know what part of the line is. I just don't know.
What would you say if it was me?
I want to know what to say on it. I'd have to call someone in, honestly.
Well, then
it's
let's
touching
do it.
the grass.
Yeah.
I mean, it's weird. It just basically should be OB, but it's touching part of that grass, so I don't know. I haven't been playing the sand trap rules lately, so I don't know.
I'll give you guys my opinion if you want it. I don't even know whose that is. That's out of bounds.
Okay. It's out of bounds. All right. All right, we've got an official call here.
Hi, Mila.
Looks like Ulibarri will be first to putt. And fully committed to that putt. If you do not make that, there's a good chance you'll find a sand trap behind there. So great putt by Paul Ulibarri. And Wysocki with a same putt. Looks like it has been deemed OB here by Josh Anthon's. And Anthon will clean up. That will be to save his par here on hole 14. And easy for Big Germ on the birdie. We're moving on to hole 15 on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. And welcome back, everyone. We are here on hole number 15. Our players should be ready to go in just a few moments. I'd like to thank the anonymous donor from earlier in the year who sent a DJI Mavic. They titled themselves as JL, so thank you very much. That was, in fact, my first attempt at drone previews that you've been seeing on many of the holes here this weekend.
So 2 holes ago, we were playing hole 13, which was the second hardest hole on the course. We're now on hole 15. We're now on hole 15, which is the hardest hole on the course. This is a par 4, average is 4.6. A lot of water on the right. There's OB barbed wire on the fence. OB barbed wire between the property lines on the left side. This is a very difficult hole, a very long hole. And oddly enough, all of these guys are looking to birdie.
And Steve, with the position we're in, it's actually kind of difficult to see exactly where that has landed. Wysocki likes his effort, and it is in fact safe. Doesn't appear to have any turnover in that shot as he fades to the left. Ulibarri is also safe. And Big Germ with a different approach. He goes with a forehand, and that is in fact OB. There is a gentle wind coming in at their face. And that looks to almost be of a layup in nature off the tee here. Playing for the hyzer, he's safe. We'll move on right here on hole 15.
Say, it literally says pond, sand traps, property fence, and greens are all OB. OB equals out of bounds, path and beyond is OB. 15, the OB line is the fence path. Okay. It literally, like, it doesn't have any sort of rules as to why, when you go to the drop zone.
Where's Jade at?
Yeah, I'm not gonna risk losing a disc until Jade comes over here.
All right, Big Germ is waiting for clarification here as to where he will have to throw his next shot from. He says he'd rather not throw from the side hill here where he went OB. There is a drop zone that he is within 25, maybe 30 feet of. And he's wondering if he does, in fact, will be able to throw his next shot, I should say, from the drop zone or not.
Up here?
The gallery from the other side of the pond is trying to help out Big Germ locate his disc. And it looks like Rick, the cameraman, is in fact located his disc.
I threw yellow. Yeah, that's yellow. I think it's my disc. Can I see your umbrella?
Someone cue up a Rihanna song.
Alright. Can you show them where that is?
Steve, tell us what's going on.
So I've got some clarification. There's questions about whether Jeremy needs to go to the drop zone or not. And the drop zone is used when your disc does not come inbounds at all. The spotter is saying that Jeremy hit inbounds or came over this inbounds over here So instead of, if he'd had a worse shot, he'd have a better lie. But as it is, he's apparently going to be playing from the bottom of the hill if he came in bounds at all.
Clear as the pond. Big Germ looks to be lining up an overhand shot from the drop zone.
It doesn't.
No, it doesn't matter. The disc is not in bounds. The rule.
That's what we said at the
No,
players'
exactly. I'm
meeting.
gonna play it that way, and then anyone else can.
What did you guys say at the meeting?
Can we do it? That's what I said at the meeting.
There you go. Then every
Yeah. What I said in the meeting was that if you do not plan, this was Mill one, this is his hole.
it trumps everything the caddy book says.
If you don't play,
Yeah.
you go to the drop zone.
So all the people
We're trying
that-
to speed up. We're trying to speed up.
So all
Okay.
the people that went in the water and played it to last place in bounds,
I didn't know I was.
they played it wrong.
They played it
and
wrong.
They get a
yeah.
two-stroke penalty.
I guess.
Yeah.
I didn't know what was going on.
So I
Good to go?
Thank you, Jeremy.
guess we are good to go. Seems to be a little controversy, which we'll discuss later. And Big Germ ultimately opts for a forehand, which is coming in toward the basket, and he'll have a putt from there.
Thanks, Jeremy. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, of course. I do too.
Next to throw will be Josh Anthon.
Just a heads up.
Josh hangs it out over the water. And no official confirmation. Looks like we know our catch cameraman, he's going to try and he relays. Our catch cameraman Chad says that is in the water. And it looks like it has crossed inbounds. However, it lands in the water. He will be OB, but he will get the distance.
So this hole was already the hardest hole. Bearing in mind what we've witnessed right now, it seems as though quite a few people may have played this hole wrong earlier today. Statistically, this hole is about to get a lot harder. Ricky's second shot.
I'm not sure what day of the week it is anymore, even Steve. I think that's his second shot, and he's looking for a skip. He's gotten just that. That'll put him on the green, looking at a potential birdie here on hole 15.
An amazing turn of events right here on hole 15. This is the signature hole out here, and it's making its presence felt here in this first round.
And Ulibarri is able to throw a hyzer out and around. Steve, talk a little bit about we'll say the ensuing controversy or second guessing that's taken place here. It seems like there's been some conflicting statements made. Is that it?
So apparently during the players meeting, Jade Sewell TD clarified that anything that goes OB on this hole goes to the drop zone. The caddy book is not super clear on that, but there is a drop zone clearly marked. So that's where the controversy is coming in. Is at the players meeting this was clarified, but if you didn't attend the players meeting, you wouldn't know that.
Was that players meeting mandatory?
Theoretically, I think it was a theoretical mandatory. You could call it disc golf mandatory.
sucks because when you have a caddy book, everything's said at the meeting trumps what's in the caddy book, so there's really no reason to have a caddy book at that point.
Unless you can write on it.
And Paul expressing some concern, again talking about conflicting information, and unfortunately it's just a turn of events as to whether or not some of the players played correctly. Now I think earlier in the round, or earlier today, we saw Catrina Allen actually go OB on this very hole, did we not? Trying to recall, and I think she had thrown from where she was last inbounds versus the drop zone, so that would be just one example of possible conflict here in terms of what the players are expected to be playing from. And Josh's Anheuser attempt is left and short. Of course, trying to get around the tree between him and the pin. Thank you guys for joining us here for our opening round coverage of the 2017 Utah Open, presented by Latitude 64. We'll be back here tomorrow at 2 p.m. Mountain Time to bring you second day coverage. And Wysocki from the middle of circle 2. I believe he'll be carding a birdie 3 here on hole number 15.
It appears as though Paige Pierce went OB on this hole in the first round. I was with you. I wasn't sure who went OB, but it was in fact Paige. And she might be knocked off the lead card.
And Paul converts, and my apologies, I was in fact following around the women's card earlier today. I was trying to recall the turn of events that took place, a very dynamic round earlier, and Anthon is in. We'll be back on hole 16 in just a few moments.
Are you obsessed with disc golf? If so, this is for you. DiscGolfBoxes.com. Premium hand-picked products shipped to your door every month. It's easy. 1. Pick your box size, the par, birdie, or ace. 2. Choose the brand of disc you would like. 3. Fill out the survey so we know exactly what you like. Go now to DiscGolfBoxes.com and sign up today. Use coupon code DGPT to save 10% on your first box. Go to DiscGolfBoxes.com to get your monthly box of disc golf awesomeness.
Welcome back to hole number 16, just 3 to play. Ricky Wysocki with the honors.
Terry, I love the challenge of this hole. If you want the birdie, you've got to give those bunkers, you've got to bring those bunkers into play. And Ricky, a beautiful shot, leaves himself about a 45-50 footer, which has drained a couple of those recently. It's just a very well-designed golf hole.
And Uli with a light misfire, it looks like. I'm not sure he was looking to go that far left. He may, in fact, been trying to lay up short of the bunkers, but not necessarily be left of them, because that's going to bring a different angle in as he approaches the basket. That is flexing out for Big Germ. It's a matter of where it's going to finish. And it looks like it is short of the green. Finds an OBCN trap. And Josh with a completely different route from the previous 3 throwers. And looks like he gets hung up by the tree, but it is safe. We're moving on to the green. Let's see how the women did on hole 16.
Dang!
I'm right at 60. By you.
See which one that one. I can see grass like out here. What do you think?
Ulibarri is going to be first to putt. He says he is right at the 2-meter circle, or the circle 2 flag things.
Good.
And it sits down after hitting the front of the basket. I'd like to thank everyone for noting my first mistake of the round in that previous call, including Johnny B. Yeah, maybe ever, actually, Big Germ.
I think there was one time where you said you made a mistake and you actually had not.
That sounds like me for sure.
So, Terry, just know, this is, I'm guessing this is based on the fact that Paul was inside circle 2, Josh has got a circle 2, but he's 3 for 7. But going for this putt is not the smart play.
Do you think he's still doing it?
He said he's playing aggressive, and he has been playing aggressive all day. He's a confident man.
And that is short to within 8 feet. Also safe is Wysocki. He's going to walk away with a 3, and Big Germ's actually hoping to just walk away with a 3 at this point. He is short of the inbounds area. He has less than 20 feet uphill for the par.
So
we're going to see 4 threes here.
With everybody carding a par on this, Bobby Music is in the clubhouse leading at -8. Ricky Wysocki and Jeremy Koling are 7 down. A.J. Risley is 7 down. Paul Ulibarri is 6 down. This next hole is going to decide which of these guys is going to be on the lead card tomorrow.
Or maybe hole 18 will as well.
Oh.
We're moving on to 17.
My first mistake of the day.
We'll be back in a moment after a word from these sponsors.
Very good. Yes. He's leading close.
And Wysocki with the tee and a forehand shot here on hole number 17. That was fading toward the water, and that is in fact OB, red flag. Uli with a backhand shot, which is tracking right toward the pin, goes just past it, however sits down. Have an easy birdie from there. Big Germ lining up a forehand.
Paul Ulibarri had a really rough start, bogeying the second hole. Since then, 7 birdies, no bogeys. He's getting ready to make another one. That's going to put him in second place.
Big Germ with a little bit of flex there. Again, very little wind. That comes in and skips just past the basket, and it is OB, water behind the basket.
There's 2 tough OBs in a row for Jeremy. Let's see if he can save the par again.
And playing a flex shot, he's hoping that's going to hook up for him, pan out and just sit. That goes deep as well, and also OB for Josh Anthon. Let's see how the women played hole 17. Welcome back here to the green of 17. Left side and in for Ricky Wysocki as he shakes his head in disgust. He's going to save the par. However, frustrated, of course, that he went into the OB water. Anthon and Big Germ doing the same. Both of them have less than 25 feet. And very awkward footing there for Big Germ on the inclined putt he has. Very similar for Anthon. So 3 pars, and then the par job here by Paul Ulibarri. Ulibarri will clean out the basket here of Anthon's putt. And what a turn of events here with just 1 hole to play in our opening round. We'll be back. You're watching the 2017 Utah Open presented by Latitude 64.
Sun King Discs, established in 2001. Florida's most respected name in disc sports. Official retail merchandiser of the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Currently on tour supporting Discraft and DGA live inventory, free shipping at $12. All orders $19.99, ships in a box, includes single discs, large selection of both stock and collectibles. Check out the website at www.sunkingdiscs.com.
And Paul Ulibarri with a forehand here on hole 18 and throws a great shot that gets just up and over the ledge. He's looking at less than 20 feet. Oh.
Ricky Wysocki hits it on the island green. He's going to have himself about a 35-footer facing the water. Yes. Paul Ulibarri gets the birdie. He's in the lead with Bobby Music at 8 under. Same with Ricky. And Jeremy Koling has the same opportunity right here.
And Big Germ, shocked that did not find the basket. Quite frankly, we're not. We know that other people on the card need to ace when Big Germ is joining them. That needs to get up. Oh, and what a skip as it comes in. It carries past the basket.
It's inbound.
And inbounds. Wow, we're going to move to the green. We'll be back in a moment.
I laid up. Oh, airball. What's the rule on that? Yeah.
And what a putt by Ricky Wysocki, finishing strong with the birdie here on hole 18 from circle 2. That was at least 42 feet.
Roberto Clemente.
Oh, he changed his number from 44.
Yep. Wait, isn't 42? Anyway, Ricky Wysocki's on the lead card tomorrow because he's in the lead right now, tied with Bobby Music.
Oh, and that splashes down into the water after splashing out of the chain's right side. I know we've said that he played aggressive all day, sticking to his game plan, and Big Germ says there's one that's too close to call. We're going to see if we can move in on it. Honestly, I'm not sure which one they're looking at here. And we see that actually Josh Anthon's to be touching some kind of ground. It is somewhat submerged in water.
It might be safe because there's rocks He pushed his disc in there. The rock came and moved his disc.
Okay, if it moved it, then it's safe. I had to get down there to look at it.
Might as well while I'm down here.
All right.
Okay.
And we're going to back up. Looks like Big Germ's going to be putting next. Big Germ converts from 20 feet. This course brings a lot of OB into play. You're going to have a lot of close calls, and these guys have been pushing the envelope all day. Josh Anthon will have a very challenging time just getting good footing here. Of course, you can bring it in 1 meter from the basket. He will mark his lie as best as he can. And Anthon converts with a challenging footing as he moves up. Steve, it's been a very interesting day, needless to say. We were on such a pace throughout the entire round, and then we hit hole 15, as you said, a signature hole, but also provided a little bit of challenge and controversy. What do you think of the round here?
I think this course really challenged these guys. We got 3 guys that finished at -8, so at the end result, we have a very exciting day ahead of us with Bobby Music also tied with -8. The interesting thing to me is that they got there in a very different way. Paul Ulibarri, very conservative, ended up going OB just once on the very second hole. He went OB once and finished birding out. Got 9 more birdies to counter that single bogey, finish 8 under par. Jeremy Koling went OB, I believe, 6 times. Might have been 5, but I think it's 6 times. And Ricky Wysocki 5 times. So those guys were playing much more aggressively, and they managed to finish at 8 under par. There's a lot of great golf to play. I'm going to bet tomorrow we know how hole 15 is going to be played. It'll be interesting to see what happens with the scores and see where this thing ends up.
And speaking of the scores, earlier today we saw the women battle it out here, and as they completed their round, I looked and I said, well, what were the scores? And they said all 3 of them scored 63. And I said, seriously? Like, they had such a different way of arriving at that score, just like the card here did today. So as you said, I think we're going to have plenty of great action for the next 2 days.
It'll be very interesting to talk to these guys and hear what their plan is going forward. The conservative approach got Paul Ulibarri here. The aggressive approach got the other guys here. It's going to be interesting to see which approach comes out on top.
We're looking forward to watching Bobby Music join us as well, a Latitude 64 player. Of course, Latitude 64, the presenting sponsor here at the Utah Open. So for everyone here today during our opening round, we've got to thank both Chad and Rick at the controls here on the cameras, along with Gary to the O back in Milwaukee, along with Johnny V, for Steve Dodge, Miles, Parkhill, Paragon, and everyone else here on the staff, Jade and his amazing crew at the Utah Open. Steve, I think we're going to see everyone tomorrow. We look forward to seeing you then when you step inside the Smash Box.